Hello, welcome back to our channel. We are the Muslim Family Adventurers. So today's topic is a fun topic. We are going to be talking about some ways that we bonded with each other in quarantine during this COVID-19 pandemic that started back in 2020, and how the positive side to this quarantine, as there is so many negatives that we can talk about, and so many life-threatening things that this COVID-19 brings, this time brings, but there is a silver lining and a glimmer of hope during this time, and I'd like to share that with you guys from our perspective as a family. My entire family is in the healthcare field, and so this time has been very, very difficult on us. We have seen death firsthand, and we have been feeling very, very emotionally sad, distraught during this time. Being on the forefront and the front lines, and seeing all that's happening with this pandemic and with this illness, and this terrible illness that's taking over the world, and causing a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of death, a lot of pain for a lot of families. And so, during this time, I know that it has affected many families' mental health, emotional health, and they haven't been able to socialize, and they haven't been able to get out and do the things that we normally did pre-COVID in our normal lives before. But regardless of all the sad things and the emotional distress and the emotional turmoil that it has taken a toll on our family, we have the time that we get off and we're off from work, we get time to spend with each other, and we make sure that time tries to stay as positive as possible. So I'm going to be sharing 10 small sources of peace and joy and happiness for our family during COVID-19. So this is 10 small things that we did as a family that I felt like throughout this year and a half, it really helped us bring us closer to each other. It helped with the emotional health and mental health for my children, and us also in terms of anxiety and sadness and isolation that many families have been feeling during this time. And this is just 10 ways that we were able to come closer together. We were able to find joy in our life, learn to be more grateful for everything that family stands for, get closer to each other, and realize that the value of time, and the value of love, and the value of family and peace. So this time really encouraged us to go inside, take an introspective dive into our personalities and into finding out who we really are, what we're really about, what we're passionate about. And I thoroughly encourage my children also to journal and to do things that help them realize, just be more self-aware of themselves, and being more grateful and more patient during this time. So I'll be sharing 10 practical small things that we did during this time that brought us happiness. So I'll start with number one. So the number one thing that we did during the pandemic that I think brought a lot of joy to my family is we got bunnies. We have 5 bunnies right now. Started off with 2, and I can see my children bonding with these little pets. So they'll sit in an enclosure, hold the pet, and I can sense that the bunny is giving them that source of comfort, source of love, and so that helps with any stress and anxiety. It's just relieved as soon as you start petting a very soft animal. So whether that's cats or dogs or bunnies or whatever it is that you have at home, I think pets are a great source of joy and source of peace during COVID-19. So I would encourage you to get bunnies. It's actually not that bad. My children are 11 and 12, and so and the youngest is a bit younger, but the children that are a little bit older have taken full responsibility in terms of cleaning, feeding, water, taking the bunnies out for letting them get exercise and sunlight and all that. So they are fully in charge of everything when it comes to caretaking. And so this has been a source of joy and peace for our family during this tough time. So number one we said was bunnies. The number two thing that we did that was a small source of joy was we started to get into painting and crafts and art. We set up a little paint studio in our garage, and then we got a couple paint supplies from Amazon, and that has been a source of stress relief for us. Anytime we feel like, just a little bored or a little sad, we'll just get our painting supplies out and paint as a family. So sometimes, I'll join the kids, sometimes my husband joins the kids, and they'll paint rocks and artwork, canvas, and so it's been a source of creativity and a source of release and a source of taking off any anxiety or any stress that we may be feeling during this time of isolation. All right, so number three, the third thing we did that was fun for our family was we got a small above ground pool. And I know during the summer this was a very, very hot item, and it was very hard to get your hands on. So I waited until winter. And I ordered it from Amazon, and I will link a link below of which pool we got and which pool we felt was, this is our second pool. So this, I can tell you pros and cons, that the ones that you have to inflate do deflate. So we got an above ground pool that has PVC piping that holds it up, and so there is less likelihood of deflation that way. So I do highly recommend an above ground pool, especially if you have young kids. It's just a good 2 hours, a day, a good hour or two for them to get out in the sun, get that sunlight. And also have fun in the water if you don't have a community pool in your area. So I highly recommend it. All right, so number one we said bunnies, number two painting, number three above ground pool, number four cooking during this time, this COVID-19 time. Cooking has become a family affair. We are in the kitchen together as a family preparing lunch, and I find this as a form of almost training the next generation and to get into the kitchen. Boys, girls, everybody gets in the kitchen, and we work as a family to cut up fruit. We, make French toast, things like that, to the point where the kids are actually independent now, and it's quite relaxing. And I kind of pat myself on the back, like, good job. And so we learned to make sushi as a family, and we set up an entire sushi station of somebody's in charge of rolling, somebody's in charge of laying out the rice, and somebody's in charge of laying out the vegetables and the cutting. And so we made sushi night become a family affair, and it has been exciting and nice to see the family in the kitchen and working together instead of it all being on one or two people. So it has been nice. All right, so number five. So we're at 5 already. Quran time. So Quran, if you don't know, is our holy book for Muslims. It is encouraged for us to read the book, understand the book, recite it, and implement it in our lives. So it is a kind of a walking, talking manual for us as Muslims, and we are encouraged to literally embody it into our hearts. And I talked about this earlier. We should always, things that gives you a spiritual life should be embodied in the heart first for it to come outwards in action. So Quran time has become, an everyday staple in our home. We do read Quran, but I found another strategy in terms of memorizing, because kids are very quick in picking up and quick in learning. So we went old school with this. My kids do not have iPads or cell phones or technology. They do have laptops, which they use for schooling, but the passwords are protected by adults and all that stuff. So my kids don't have technology and devices other than TV, and I did that for a specific reason. I kind of want them to be well-rounded and not so stuck into the technology world, as most of us are nowadays, with work, with leisure time. We're constantly scrolling, and as a child, I think that's not necessary for their development. A little bit here and there is fine, but I don't think that a child can fully develop when they are constantly on technology or video games or any of that stuff. So my kids stay away from all that. It's just TV. And so what we did for Quran time is we got them old school Walkmans, old school CD players. And so it was definitely different. And so we got them old school Walkmans and CD players, and they have Quran Juz Amma, Juz 30 CDs in there. And you'd be amazed that the more they repeat and listen to the same verses over and over and over again, they pick it up really quickly, and I'd be surprised. So I highly recommend that you, if you are old school a little bit and you want to go that route, get them a Walkman with their own CD and headphones, and I encourage that. Just test it out and see what happens, because kids are very quick in learning, and they're like a sponge. They absorb things like a sponge. So yeah, that's become a daily staple in our home. All right, so number 1, we said bunnies, painting, above ground pool, cooking as a family, has become a family affair, and Quran time. Number 6 is reading time, pretty straightforward. The kids spend a good hour reading and inhaling books left and right. It came to a point where anytime they were bored, they pick up a book. And so I'm encouraging them to, along with reading, to write reports on what they're reading, because they're just reading too fast for me even to keep up with. So I'm telling them to write reports, book reports. We go to the library, pick up our books ahead of time. My husband orders them at the local library and comes home with a bag of books, and they just start inhaling them. So they have been reading, and that's a good hour that they spend independent reading and writing reports based on the books that they have read. And so I pulled templates from online book reports and of what is included in a book report, and they are filling those out on a weekly basis. All right, number 7, travel, weekend getaways. You guys know my passion for travel and for adventure. So we have been out a lot for lots of hikes and fishing and hiking and picnics and weekend getaways to out of state weekend getaways and things like that. So I highly recommend during this time to just get away in driving distance and relax, because yes, we are home all day. Our lives have changed if you're working from home or if you are schooling from home during the pandemic. A nice change of scenery helps. All right, number 8, I would recommend to encourage that your kids spend as much time outdoors as possible. So my kids literally live outside. So to do that and to encourage that, we invest in outdoor toys a lot. So bikes, scooters, rollerblades, motorized scooters, anything you name it. Again, we're trying to encourage our children to stay outdoors more, to be in nature more. I feel like the greenery, the sunlight, the sky, all of these things are helpful for mental health and helpful for our children's development. So anytime they feel bored, which is a good thing, that they feel bored, they are able to use their creativity outdoors and blend into nature. And they've been reading a lot of books, and if you're familiar with the Anne of Green Gables series, they've been reading a lot of Anne of Green Gables, which sparks creativity with outdoor sunlight and the trees and the whistling of the trees and the blowing of the leaves and all that. So we encourage our children to stay outdoors as much as possible, and these extra toys help to make sure that they are excited and having a good time out there. All right, let's see what else. Number 9. All right, so number 9, prayer time is prayer time. So prayer time has become a family affair as well. We pray together. We are encouraging our children to rotate their day around their prayers, around the 5 daily prayers, and to put those in first, and then put in their activities around that. So prayer time has become a source of spiritual family bonding. This has been a great time for us to train our children in terms of what to recite during prayer, when to recite, when to pray, how to do the ablution or the wudu before prayer. So I think this time has been a great blessing for us to all the things that we sometimes want to teach our children, but because they go to school 5 days a week and they're busy and you're busy, this has been a great time for them to get more real hands-on life experience with their religious and spiritual connections with God. So this prayer time has become a priority in our home and has become a source of basically the foundation, the 5 prayers that become the foundation of our day, and our life revolves around it. And it has become, I think it's great to teach children that you are going from a time of busyness to a time of peace, and a time of busyness and a time of, all these things are important. And so it's important to show your children the balance between the world and being connected with the world through our physical bodies, and then being connected to our God and our spiritual intangible that we can't see at the moment, but our spiritual God and our spiritual connection with God throughout the day as well. So we balance that time out between being busy and being relaxed when you're with God, and so that helps them to understand the value of prayer and why it's there, and how it's a priority in our lives. All right, so bunnies, number 1, painting, number 2, above ground pool, number 3, cooking as a family affair, number 4, Quran time with our Walkmans and CDs, reading time with book reports afterwards, travel weekend getaways, staying outdoors as much as possible with outdoor toys, and prayer time. And number 10, last but not least, is limiting the Zoom classes and the extracurriculars that we were part of. So I know in the beginning of the pandemic, it was very overwhelming because everything went virtual. If you are part of any extracurriculars, they went virtual. If you were part of school, it went virtual. And it was pretty chaotic in the beginning. And so to organize everything and to manage everything, I realized that as a parent, I need to prioritize what is important for my children and what I need to take out, and what will become, when at some point it becomes overwhelming and you're stuck all day in front of the screen, and that is not what I wanted during this time for my children. So we limited ourselves to 2 or 3 classes a week on Zoom and all of that. But the rest, I was like, nope, I like to believe in an every other day schedule, where one day you're allowed to be overwhelmed one day, but then the next day you need to be relaxed. And that way you keep a good balance without becoming too overwhelmed with too many Zoom classes and too much signing on and signing off going on. So this whole experience has been tough, but at the same time, it has taught us to reevaluate our lives a little bit, and to realize that what is a priority in our life, how can we make our life more peaceful and relaxing, and just taking it easy, because at the end of the day, what is it that we value the most? And it is our time with each other, our time with God, our time to be creative and relaxed and stress-free and peaceful, and also to keep our education and our studies going too. So we were able to find a nice balance. It took some time, but we were able to took a couple months, but we were able to find a very nice balance and peace in our home when we realized that there's places that we need to pull back, and then there's places that we need to evaluate and change and find the path of least resistance in our home. And so we were able to create a very peaceful and happy environment during COVID-19, despite all of the negativity and sadness that is out there. I know anytime we listen to the news, there was a little bit of sadness, but not only that, for us, it's very real being in the front lines, seeing the sadness and seeing the death and all that's happening that's out there. But we tried our very best. So I think we did a great job trying to keep the kids almost in a safe, happy bubble, because yes, the real world is tough and all that, but why not create that happy space, which is called home, for our families, so when they get older, they realize anytime they're stressed or anytime they feel overwhelmed, they have a safe nest to come back to, which is their parents' home. Anytime they want to de-stress, come on over. Anytime they want cookies and they want sushi, come on over. We know we're here for you, and we just want to create this peaceful home environment for our children, so that they know that they are loved, and they know that that is what we learned during this pandemic, is how much we love each other and how much we value each other, and how much anything that's extra and not conducive to our environment needs to be dropped. And so that whole teeter-tottering and finding out what's important to us became very apparent during the pandemic. And we really, really, really appreciate the life lessons that came with it. So I hope this helps. And please subscribe to our channel and like the video, and let me know if there's, in the comments, if there's any other ways that you found peace and joy during the pandemic, because I'd love to add more things to our life and more ways in our life that bring peace and joy. So feel free to learn from these ideas, and please definitely share more ideas of how you found peace in your home. All right, take care. Signing off. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.